The 2025 Hungarian Motorcycle Grand Prix is done and dusted, and it's no surprise who's at the front. It's an anti-clockwise circuit, so it's no wonder it's Marc Marquez who finished the race in first place. But well, again, without further ado, as per tradition, it's 5 topics to comment about the Hungarian GP, the first time after 33 years. Coincidentally, the previous two winners of the Hungarian GP were two of the best that the sport has ever seen. In 1990, Mick Doohan clinched his first ever GP500 victory in the Hungarian GP. And in 1992, when the Hungarian GP made its way back to the calendar only to lose it again for the next 33 years, it was Eddie Lawson who won it, en route to being the first ever rider who was able to win on 3 different manufacturers: Honda, Yamaha, and Cagifa. So with that being said, again, it's very coincidental that this time it's Marc Marquez who won it. Marc being one of the best that the sport has ever seen, being champion in his rookie campaign for the first time since 35 years, after the last time it was done by Kenny Roberts Sr. in 78, and then Marc doing it in 2013. And yeah, it's as if the Hungarian GP was only there for the best and not for somebody else. Marc again snatched the pole position for the 8th time this season. 8th time. I'm speechless basically to see how Marc is doing this season. Like I said in the previous commentary section, I'm not going to be surprised if he locks the title at Misano. It's just very likely, especially with Alex Marquez crashing and only finishing in 14. It's very likely that Marc is going to lock the title at Misano. A little bit of a side note and a fun fact at that point, back in that 1990 Hungarian GP, Mick was winning his first ever GP500 title, while in 1992, Eddie was basically winning his last GP500 race. So yeah, that's a bit of a fun fact for you. A total of 5 podiums now this season, 3 podiums in the last 4 races for Marco. Marco has suddenly become the closest to Marc. Well, he didn't really finish the job, he didn't really beat Marc on the race, but he was really close. He was the one that was putting up a lot of fight to Marc in the past few races now. Despite the characteristic of the Aprilia, it's just basically a tire chewing machine now. I mean, Marco was like dropping down the order after like leading for most of the laps and then tumbling down the order. It's been happening in Austria, it's been happening as well in some other places, and this time in Balton Park. He kind of got hindered by the bike, but I think it's not impossible that Aprilia will find something, because they found something after Silverstone. I think it has something to do with the chain, with the bike's chain system, and then Aprilia made a change or kind of revert back to something that they'd been using in the previous year's version of the bike, and it worked perfectly, and that's why Marco can fight a lot at Assen, at Sachsenring despite the crash, Brno, Oostenrijkring, and now Balton Park. I'm really looking forward to how Marco is going to do in these next few races. Surprisingly, the Balton Park circuit really suits the KTM. Like in FP1, when I saw that name, Paul Espargaro, the one replacing Maverick Vinales, of course, he was second to Marc in FP1. I was like, is that really Paul that I'm reading the name of? I really can't believe it. And Pedro Acosta third. So the characteristic of the Balton Park really suits the KTM boys, because all of the KTMs were strong in this race. All of the KTMs, I think only Brad that was kind of limping a bit, but Paul, Enea, and Pedro, they were all getting to Q2. I mean, I keep saying Q3 like I'm talking about F1. But it was Enea who's the best KTM qualifier. Enea started P4, but he kind of been it in the race. And Acosta though, Pedro really needs to improve his qualifying pace as well as his race start, because he started P7, he climbed up the order. In the end though, he was 4 seconds aback from Marc. He finished P2. Pedro in the end overtook Marco. Marco in the end only finished P3, and again, just like in the last weekend in Austria, where he got overtaken by Fermin Aldeguer. And this time he was overtaken by Pedro. And Pedro was trying to get closer to Marc, but it was already like 2.8 something second once he got into P2, and there was little that he could do. And in the end, 4 seconds back from Mark. And judging by how strong his pace during the race, it's not impossible. It wasn't impossible for him to be challenging Mark for that race win had he qualified better in hindsight. Like, at the very least, if he qualified P5 or P4 just like Enea did, he could propel himself directly onto the podium battle and then maybe leading the race. Like I said, the Barton Park itself, it really suits the KTM boys. None of the KTMs was slow. Brad, even though qualifying in P13 or 14, and then he was promoted to P12 because some grid penalties, he was in the end able to finish in P7. So the KTMs were strong this weekend. I mean, like, imagine that Paul Espargaro, a replacement rider, could qualify and then finish inside the top 10. Paul Espargaro finished a strong 8th place. Not bad for a replacement rider, if I do say so myself. So yeah, Pedro really kind of wasted this chance of fighting for the victory, a maiden win for the 21-year-old. It's really the qualifying performance that he needs to improve, like, a lot, and also his race start, because in this age of MotoGP, it's almost similar like F1, almost similar. Qualifying performance really determine where you'll be finishing the race, because it's really difficult to overtake now. So qualifying performance really is important for the race itself. And yeah, Pedro really needs to improve on that one. I just can't fathom how Fabio Di Giannantonio scored 0 points in the past 3 races, excluding Balaton Park. And when he finally found his form back, he put that bike, that Fiat 46 Ducati, 3rd on the grid. He got a technical issue before the start. He started on the pit lane. He swapped bikes because that first bike, the main bike, was having a gearbox issue, I guess. He ended the race P15. Well, he did get a point, but only 1 point. And it's just like 1 point now in the previous 4 races. That's just so bad. While on the other side of the garage, Frankie, he managed a P5 on the grid, and he was strong. He was strong in the first third of the race. He was briefly in P2, like he was trying to follow Marco, who was leading the race by then. Behind him was Mark. But then once Mark overtook him, he was just dropping down the order until he finished P6. So it really is a roller coaster of a weekend for the Fiat 46 boys. The factory Honda boys are back. They qualified both inside the top 10. P9 for Luca and P10 for Joan. Whoa, imagine that. When was the last time both factory Honda team qualified inside the top 10? This is mega. This is a mega job. And they were both directly into Q2. It's amazing to say the least. Both factory Honda rider directly get inside the Q2 session, not having to go through Q1 first. So again, aside from being suitable to the KTM boys, the Barton Park turns out to be suitable for the Honda boys as well. And with Luca's blistering start and when the lights went out, he was going as strong as P4. Despite all the mayhem, after just a few corners after the lights went out, he was in P4, from P9 to P4. That's just a mega start, mate. That was like a Jorge Lorenzo-esque start. He ended the race in P5, very strong and very consistent for a guy who's having to deal with some of the injury that he sustained in the Suzuka 8 Hour. Just keep in mind that he missed 3 races. He came back at Sachsenring, finishing in P6. So now that's 2 top 6 finishes in 4 races for Marini. I don't really want to talk about the sprint, but he finished P4 in the sprint. So that makes it a double top 5 finishes this weekend. Amazing man. This is the Honda, the moped we're talking about here. So a podium incoming maybe at Misano. I mean, it might be the case for Catalunya in the next few weeks, but we can't really say for sure. We can't really determine if it suits the Honda. But again, one can only hope, right? Well, I guess that's it that I can comment. Those are all my verdict for this Hungarian GP. Like I said, I've been predicting this since the moment I finished watching the race for the World Superbikes round, the Hungarian round. This was going to be a really boring race, and yep, my prediction was spot on, because the characteristic of the track, it really, the typical to produce boring races is stagnant races. Like throughout the 3 races of the World SBK, only Super Bowl race was interesting. Why? Well, because it's a dry to wet, and it's a wet to dry condition, so it's only a normal thing for the race to get interesting when it's a mixed condition. But on a pure dry condition, no, it's just going to be one rider released at the front and nobody could catch him. And that's exactly what happened. So make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and like and subscribe for more, and until we meet again.